up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you that have been here before and have been checking out all the fandom dopeness we be bringing to the channel, guys, this is all about everything in the world of pop culture. We break it down. We go from everything to horror movies, TV shows, anime, comic books, music, everything and in between. We talk about it here on the Fandom Frequency channel, and I want to take a moment here up top to give a special shout out and show a lot of love to all the people that have been supporting the channel so much over the last several days. Our subscriber count has grown quite a bit. I think we're at like 92 subscribers right now, and I gotta say thank you so much for all the support on the channel, guys. We've been getting a lot of new subscribers. Our last review we just did, our spoiler review for Terrifier 2, the latest slasher sequel, man, hitting theaters right before Michael Myers comes around the corner. A lot of great support on that, man. Some of the most comments we ever had on any of the videos, some of the most support we ever had. And yeah, so much love to each and every one of you that watched the video, commented on the video. We even had someone involved with the film comment on it, and you know who you are. Shout outs to you. Thank you for being a part of one of the dopest movies this year and bringing us some fandom dopeness. So thank you to each and every one of you that's been checking out the channel, subscribing. Hope you all stick around. We got a lot of great horror content coming this month for spooky season, but most importantly, we got a lot of great content going on all the time. So we want to be hearing from you. Make sure you drop your thoughts below for this latest episode. The reason why you're clicking on this particular video, guys, it's another one of our weekly recaps. I'm coming at you solo dolo this time. I usually have my partner in crime, Skippy, man. You've been seeing a lot of him on the channel, one of our fellow producers here, but it's going to be me just talking about episode 8 of House of the Dragon, man, the latest and maybe greatest prequel series I've seen in a long time, man. The prequel series to the big controversial and at one time critically acclaimed show, Game of Thrones. This is that prequel talking about House Targaryen and the whole entire thing of what led to the Civil War that divided them up and made them into what they were in the present day, 200 years later in Game of Thrones, man. And I gotta say, this show has been a huge ass surprise, guys. I came into this show with very low expectations. I had not seen a full single episode of Game of Thrones in my life. But I decided, hey, it's got dragons. I'm a big fan of dragons. I always thought they're just really cool, mythical creatures. Loved dragons as a kid, so always was appealing to me when they make stories and make TV shows and movies and things like that about dragons. So that was appealing to me from the get. Matt Smith, who's been like kind of an up-and-coming actor, who's been getting bigger and bigger and bigger ever since he blew up in the UK with Doctor Who. I was very interested to see that. And one of my personal favorite actresses of my generation, Olivia Cooke, man. Loved her ever since Me and Earl and The Dying Girl. She's been doing phenomenal work on TV and film for the last decade or so. So it's great to see her finally get a lead role in a really big show that's been like pretty much the highest viewed thing on HBO Max possibly that they've had the entire time they've been a streaming service. So this show's blowing the fuck up, guys. And I gotta say, just giving you my general thoughts up top right here, this thing was phenomenal, man. This was another great episode of TV, and I gotta say, man, it was fan-fucking-tastic. Never bored from start to finish, and I gotta say, this is not one of those action-packed shows. It's not one of those action-packed episodes. There's some big moments. There's some what-the-fuck moments for sure. Like, there's some big stuff going down, but they definitely lean a lot more into the politics, to the character development, to the drama, and all those soap opera elements that they're bringing into the series. But with this being a more intimate story about House Targaryen and not about the entire world of Westeros and the 7 kingdoms or however many kingdoms there are. It's not about the whole entire world at large in the universe that they live in. This is strictly about House Targaryen and King's Landing and stuff like that. It's not about the whole entire grand scope that Game of Thrones was going for, and I think has been a very, very big strong suit going into this series and has really been working in their favor and has been a big strong suit, man. But I absolutely love this episode, man. It was so damn good. And next week and all this in the finale to come, looks like it's going to be even crazier. But this one was one of those building block episodes that's really setting the table for those really big conflicts that are going to be going on down the line. That's going to really pay off in these next 2 episodes. And I got to say, they did such a great job. So much great character development really coming to a head. All the character arcs really coming to a head. And that civil war between both houses of House Valerian, House Targaryen, and all this stuff going on, and Otto Hightower and everything like that. All that big conflict is going to even get crazier and crazier, and it just really ratcheted up the tension this episode, man. Great, great stuff. I still think the first episode is possibly my favorite, but this is really, really rivaling that in the last episode as well. Man, this show is just off to such a great start and such a pleasant surprise for me personally. And I'm actually going to dive all into Game of Thrones seasons 1 through whatever after this season 1 of House of the Dragon wraps up. I'm actually going to be checking that out and going to probably do some review recaps for those down the line. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Probably be getting into that. Closing out 2022, going into 2023, do the rest of the Game of Thrones series as we wait for that season 2 of House of the Dragon. But this was great stuff, guys. But getting more into the specifics and getting into that recap portion of the episode that we love to do here on these recaps, of course. So picking up at this episode, it has been 6 years since episode 7, man. So it's been 6-year time jump since Daemon and Rhaenyra got together, and they are now going to be the next people in line to become king and queen of the Iron Throne and everything like that. Viserys is doing even worse health-wise now. He is in terrible shape. Alicent, Rhaenyra, that beef is still there between her, all their sons, Aemond and Aegon and Lucerys and Jacaerys and everything, Luke or whatever. So a lot of beef going on between the kids, a lot of beef going on between Rhaenyra and Alicent, and it turns out that they have not seen each other. None of these people have actually seen each other for the last 6 years, which is pretty crazy, man. So since we last saw them last episode, they ain't seen each other. And you really feel that awkwardness and that tension at the beginning of the episode when they all start to converge and meet again at King's Landing. You really, really feel it through their performances and through the characters in the show. So I want to give a lot of big props to the actors for just really delivering on that and really making you feel the sense of history in the past between these characters, when obviously they only knew each other for a matter of months, but they really, really do a great job of selling the conflict and the relationships that they have been supposedly building on for years, right? So I really love the way that the actors are really able to portray that. But picking up with the big plot points here for episode 8, most importantly, and all that, Corlys is actually really sick, and he got the red fever or whatever that is. He is really, really sick and potentially on his deathbed. Rhaenys, his wife, has been serving as leader of House Valerian and of their kingdom in his absence while he's been out on the seas, you know, doing all that crazy shit with the sea snake and all this crazy shit going on there. And his ass is on his deathbed. He's going to be out of here. I don't think we're going to see any more Corlys for the rest of the series. And he's kind of in a similar position to his cousin, Viserys. Very interesting to see that going down. They're all still reeling. Their family is still reeling from the so-called death, as they think, of Laenor, even though he's off living with his boyfriend somewhere in the south, somewhere in Westeros or whatever. But yeah, so his brother, or Corlys' brother, I should say, Vaemond, actually comes in the room, delivers this news to Rhaenys and lets her know, hey, I should be the one that's next up on the throne, not this fucking Lucerys kid, fucking bastard. Like, nah, me. I'm the bloodline. They are not. You are not. You're just queen for right now. I'm the shit. I'm the leader. It's my shit. So Vaemond's like, yeah, fuck that. No. Rhaenyra and all that dumb shit y'all are doing, fuck that. We're going with tradition, motherfuckers. I'm supposed to get the Iron Throne. So you see him making that play, and Vaemond ain't playing, and he ain't happy about the situation. That is for damn sure. And then we jump over to Daemon, who's over there doing his thing. Where are they at? Dragonstone, I believe. Yeah, Dragonstone. So they're back at Dragonstone, and they just found 3 more dragon eggs in this. He just found them in this cave or whatever, and give them to his servants over there. And yeah, so he gives them the eggs, and like, oh yeah, I found 3 dragon eggs. We gonna be, once they're born, we got even more power, guys. And then we jump back over to King's Landing quickly after that, and a servant girl needs to talk to Queen Alicent. But she's kind of busy dealing with the meeting, and then Rhaenyra and Daemon are set to arrive soon, so they got to deal with all that and everything like that. But she needs to she's summoned to talk to this servant girl that works for her son, Aemond, I believe. Yeah, I believe. Could have that mixed up. Just a caveat, just letting y'all know. But yeah, so I believe her son Aemond, the servant girl works directly under him and everything like that, and apparently he has violated her sexually and stuff like that, and she wanted to let the queen know before she heard from anyone else. And obviously Alicent is deeply disturbed by what her son has done, because for as petty as Alicent can act and for as petty as she can be, she really does show a great job, and Olivia Cooke as an actress and as a performer does a great job of showing the humanity of Alicent and showing that more good side to her, and that side that we can all relate to is people that want to try to have at least decent morals and things of that nature. And everyone has their downsides and their negatives and their and everything like that. And after Allison really flew off the handle 6 years earlier in the previous episode, you really see her show a lot of restraint, a lot of maturity, and a lot of it just having such a calm demeanor about herself and really feeling like a true leader and feeling like a real elegant leader in that way. So I like that. Love what she's doing there. And she's like, you know what? I understand. I believe you. Don't worry. Just make sure no one else knows, because if people find out, they're going to have a lot of bullshit to say about you and my son. And we don't need any more of that nonsense going around when my sister-in-law is already fucking everybody fucking everybody, having kids by everybody that don't like anything like her and all that. So let's try to keep this in hush hush. You know what I'm saying? So she then jumps over. Or not jumps over, but she goes over to her son. He's over there knocked out in the middle of like 2 in the afternoon, like around the time I'm recording this right now, and he's still asleep and shit. And she's like, hey, wake up, motherfucker. I heard what you did. You need to watch your shit, motherfucker. And then she slaps the shit out of him. And I was like, damn, dude, Allison laid down the law. You don't fuck with Allison when she in mom mode. Don't fuck around, trust me. And then, yeah, so then we jump back over, and now Allison and Damon, jeez. Rhaenyra and Daemon and their sons and their new baby boys have arrived to King's Landing, and they're going to introduce their 2 youngest sons, twin boys from the looks of it, one named after Viserys himself and another one named Aegon after the great King Aegon in their great ancestor or whatever. So Rhaenyra goes and makes her formalities with Alicent and everything like that. Then she goes and requests to speak to her father, Viserys, who's really, really ill in the bed, face fucked up. He's got literally like an eye missing. Motherfucker looks like he's like walking off the set of a horror movie, man. Ugh, nasty. But yeah, Viserys, man, he is not doing well. I'm surprised this guy's even still kicking. But we'll find out by the end of the episode that's not necessarily the case anymore. But for the meantime, while he is still alive and everything like that, Rhaenyra introduces her grandsons to him, her latest sons that she's had by Daemon. So she now has 4 kids, a 5th on the way, I think. It looked like she was pregnant. So I think she got a 5th kid on the way, 4 sons. And she has 2 little boys, one named after Viserys himself and Aegon the Great and all that stuff. So Viserys is very happy about that and everything like that. It's a very sweet, tender moment and all that. And then Rhaenyra actually goes outside later on and goes to have a conversation with her aunt, Rhaenys, and actually wants to console with her and let her know that, hey, for one, I didn't have Laenor killed. I truly didn't, and I did truly love your son, regardless if you believe me or not. But I also want to strike a deal with you. Let's marry our kids together, and that way we can form a stronger alliance against potentially Alicent or anyone else that comes for us down the line, and we can strengthen the Valyrian kingdom with the Targaryens and really, really become the power play and really put that power play and really put a stamp in our place in the overall hierarchy of the kingdom and everything like that. So Rhaenys at first is kind of hesitant to want to agree to this deal and says, well, it's an interesting proposition, but a desperate one at the same time. And Rhaenyra even says, like, fuck it, who cares, dude? Let's just make a deal. You know what I mean? Let's make a deal. But she's like, I'll think about it. And then the way it goes, I definitely saw it coming. I just knew she wanted to keep Rhaenyra on her toes. That is for sure. And later on, actually, you actually see Rhaenyra go to talk to her dad once again. And she even confesses out loud to him that she actually regrets the fact that he made her the heir to the throne. And actually wishes that she kind of didn't have that heavy burden that she has to carry now. But it's too late, too far to go back. So it's time for her to move forward, and she has to continue doing this thing and has to see it through. But you can see that regret in her eyes, and I actually really loved that moment. And it really fleshed out Rhaenyra as a character and kind of shows her like, oh shit, I really, really wanted it because it was my birthright in a sense because I'm the next in line, but maybe I should have let them just pass that on to Aegon's ass, and he could have just been doing his thing, and I wouldn't have to worry about all this bullshit, and I could have been with whoever I wanted to be with from the beginning. So I do feel for her in that aspect as well, because it is a lot that comes with it, but she kind of put that on herself, so I don't feel too bad for her. But at the same time, I do think that she was being a little bit naive at the time, obviously being a lot younger, and that comes with age. Hindsight is 20/20, as they say. So it all plays well and made a lot of sense for the moment. But I like that vulnerable moment with her and Viserys. Really, really rounded out their characters so well. And Viserys has some really great standout moments as well. Especially when you get to the moment where they're having a whole argument about who's going to be king of the High Tides or whatever, who's taking over the Valyrian kingdom as the rightful ruler, now that Corlys is essentially just as good as dead. Who's taking over? Daemon's like, Fuck that. Them kids ain't no fucking blood of ours. I'm taking the throne. I will not allow it. And Viserys comes in. He's like, motherfucker, please. What are we arguing about? And he's freaking limping up there with his cane and shit. And he's barely getting up there. He's got a mask to cover up half his face like he's the Phantom of the Opera and shit. So people don't see his scarred up, fucked up face and everything. And he's like, what are we arguing about? I told you it's my grandson. I made this decision already. What are we arguing about? What do you got to say? Who's got a claim to this thing? Why are we arguing? Speak up, motherfuckers. And then Vaemon starts talking all his shit. And then he's like, well, I don't give a shit what you got to say. The decision stands. I think it's just, is it Lucerys? I think it's Jacaerys. I think it's Jace. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's Jace. He's taking the throne. Get over it, motherfucker. Oh, no, it's Lucerys. It's Lucerys. My bad. What? I can't even remember. One of them. It's one of them. But one of them's supposed to take the throne. He's like, nah, it's going to happen. And then Vaemon's like, fuck that shit. They're a bunch of bastards. And they're like, oh, shit. No, well, actually, he's like, man, fuck that. They don't deserve shit. And Daemon's like, just say it. Say it. You know, because he's kind of become their own, like their stepdad now at this point, so he is protective of them and all that. And he's been very understated this entire episode and has very limited dialogue, too. And it's so interesting to see what Matt Smith has been doing with the character and really changing his demeanor as the episodes have gone along and as time progresses forward. You really do see him start to calm down and become a little more zen and a little more even keel. And he'll just kind of act on things when he absolutely needs to. So it is very enjoyable seeing that aspect of his character. And I love the way Matt Smith is doing it in such a subtle way, and the way that they're writing it in such a subtle way, through the performance, through the demeanor, through his actions and everything like that. Showing, not telling. A+ story, A+ filmmaking right there. So loved all that. But Damon's like, yo, say it, motherfucker. Say it. And he's like, they're bastards. And their mom's a hoe. She's a whore. And he's like, oh, what did you just say, motherfucker? And he chops his head off, bro. Like right here in between his cheeks. So you got the bottom half of his face, like just his chin there. And his head gets cut clean off, man. It was like freaking Jason Voorhees stepped up in the freaking King's Landing, man. Daemon said, bitch, cut his head off. And everyone's like, oh, shit. Because Viserys was going to get up with his knife and shit with his blade and be like, I'm going to have your tongue for that, bitch. And then Daemon comes in, cuts his head off and says, nah, he can keep his tongue. I was like, badass moment. Damon's officially my favorite character in the show. Phenomenal. I love it. I absolutely loved it. But yeah, so as we continue from that point, not too much else goes on, but they do actually, Viserys actually says, hey, yo, Otto, we were having dinner tonight. Get the whole family together. I don't give a fuck what you got to say. I'm not drinking your tea. Get everybody together. We're having dinner. I'm tired of this shit. I'm about to die any minute, and you motherfuckers are going to break up the kingdom with your civil war. We need to get together. And he even says at the dinner, yo, I tried to prevent it. I tried to keep the peace. I tried to do what my predecessor did before me and keep us together and keep things in a strong and peaceful place so that way the kingdom can prosper without us having to lose a bunch of lives and go through a bunch of conflicts and unnecessary things. Because war ain't good for nobody, as we all know in real life, right? Y'all know the deal. No matter where you're at in the world, we can all relate to that. We can all relate to that. And he's like, come on, we got to build a strong bond and stay together as a family. We got to keep our claim at the throne. If we break apart, House of the Dragon is done. We are finished. They will come at our heads. The Triarchy is already barking up the tree. We got to stick together to keep a strong alliance and to keep this foundation of this kingdom and to keep our place in the overall hierarchy. We got to get it together, y'all. We got to get it together. And then Alicent and Rhaenyra actually make genuine steps and make toast to one another and make toast to things and actually are trying to make amends as friends. And it was actually a really awesome, sweet moment between the two actors, Olivia Cook and Emma Darcy. It was so awesome to see them come together and play this aspect of the characters, because we haven't really seen them play that side of the characters, because that was really more on the other two younger actresses that played them earlier on in the timeline in the first few episodes. So it was really awesome to see them play into the more positive friendship aspect of the relationship of those two characters, and they did it so damn well. So I love the way that they integrated that into this episode. Even if it was brief, it was very, very organic and very seamless the way they worked it in, and you truly feel them wanting to make amends. I believe Luke is the one that gets up, and he makes a toast to his uncles, Aemon and Aegon, and says, hey, you guys are great warriors, you guys are badass, I'm gonna give you your credit, I'm gonna do my part and make amends and try to extend an olive branch. You know what I'm saying? And he does the mature thing, and I think he's going to end up being kind of like Jon Snow, protagonist of the story. You could definitely see that with Rhaenyra's sons. They're definitely going to be some of the few actually kind of genuinely good characters at heart. But anyway, one of the few of the new generation, but his uncles are just complete petty assholes. And I believe it's Aemond. He's like, I'll raise a toast to my nephews. You're so strong. And they're like, you just had to talk some more shit, didn't you? You just had to talk more shit. Luke or Jace, one of them starts a fight. They end up getting into some beef. Daemon's got to break it up. Him and Aemond end up getting into a whole freaking stare down. And shit's going down, son. And I got to tell you, just when you thought they were going to make that connection and keep the House of the Dragon together, nah, son. Shit hits the fan quick and fast in this show, and shit has hit the fan once again, and it looks like this bridge will not be crossed, whether it's the older generation, the grandfather generation with Viserys, or this new generation, almost the Gen Z of this thing, right? No matter what, there's just going to be some conflict one way or the other with somebody in the family on one side of the fence, and it looks like from the preview of episode 9, shit is about to get real, son, and there is no turning back. That civil war is going to be quickly approaching. From the book, from the novel and everything like that, from the original source material. It's going to be interesting to see where everything goes, but that preview really shows things are going to get hectic. Motherfuckers are stabbing motherfuckers in the back. People are making a play for that Iron Throne, and motherfuckers ain't playing. That Game of Thrones vibe that people know, and I've seen kind of from clips and things of the show and from the reputation, it is definitely seeping into the show, and it's starting to feel more and more like that classic Game of Thrones as the series progresses, but in such a great and organic way, the way they're weaving it into the story and taking their time to tell the story, but jumping forward just enough in time to keep things moving at such a great pace. It's not a fast-paced, action-driven show, but they've done such a great job at holding my attention and holding the audience's attention and really keeping you invested in the characters and the story first and foremost before any action or any TNA. And you get all that stuff sprinkled throughout the series. No TNA really in this one, but you definitely get some violence. Like I said, a head gets fucking chopped in half, all right? So you definitely get your violence, and you definitely get that side of it fed to you, man. And that's essentially the end of the episode, man. That's pretty much all the big plot points to go over there. But as I stated towards the top with my general thoughts, I love this fucking episode, man. This series has been a pleasant surprise. I'd be shocked if this isn't in my top 10 TV series of the year, whatever. It's phenomenal. It's great, man. It's great as a show and as a whole. Other than episode 2 being a little too dull for my taste, a little slow, every other episode has been good to great. This show is freaking awesome. I am really, really, really enjoying this. Thoroughly enjoying it, man. Great episode. I'm going to give this episode an 8.5 out of 10, man. Strong stuff. Great, great stuff, man. But I want to hear from y'all. Let me know what you thought about this latest episode. All of us here at Phantom Frequency would love to hear your thoughts on this latest 8th episode of House of the Dragon. But also don't forget, y'all, we're going to have recaps coming this week and every week as we have been doing lately. We're going to have our Andor recaps on Wednesday. Make sure you tune in for that. And also Thursday, we're going to be wrapping up the She-Hulk recaps with the big finale this Thursday. Make sure you don't sleep on any of that dopeness. And we're going to have more horror content coming at you every week for the rest of the month. For spooky season, we got some really cool stuff in the pipeline for this week. So keep your eyes peeled. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And for all of you that have been, it has been awesome seeing the channel grow and grow every single day, and been connecting and getting to respond to your comments out there has been a blast, and I love getting to connect with y'all. So let's keep this community growing. Let's keep the positivity flowing. And once again, stay tuned. Don't sleep. Much love to each and every one of you, and we'll see you next week for House of the Dragon. And I hope I'll be seeing a lot more of y'all on all the content here. So be safe out there, y'all. Appreciate each and every one of you. Peace.